spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat. The human drama of athletic competition. This is ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Again with old school boxing talk. It's been a while since we last got together, doing some different things. But let's get back into the boxing talk, shall we? Let me see, since we've been gone. When we left off, Terrence Crawford had just unified the 140-pound championship, beating Julius Ndongo. Since then, what have we had happen in the world of boxing that's relevant? Well, this past Saturday night, there was a triple header on HBO's Boxing After Dark, where we had Chocolatito taking the Rumbazai in their rematch, and didn't go well for Chocolatito. Now, I remember the first fight was on the Golovkin Danny Jacobs undercard, and I personally thought that Chocolatito won the fight. I had it 115, 113, I believe. But I thought Chocolatito won the fight. It was close. My uncle, who was watching the fight with me, had the fight a draw. And I remember doing scorecard. He said I wouldn't be shocked if there was a draw. If someone had a draw, and sure as shit, and someone had it a draw. And of course, they gave the Rumba side. Well, this time around, there was no debate over who won the fight. Rumba side knocked out Chocolatito in the fourth round, dropped him in the first, knocked him out in the fourth. There was nothing to be said about that. No excuses, nothing. It was, lights out. It's a wrap. Also on this card, we had Inoki from Japan, and first time I got to look at him without watching on YouTube, that I got a real good look at him, and he looked fantastic. He's a great body puncher. They call him the monster, and you know what? This kid is a monster. He's very, very technically sound. He has a little bit of swagger to him. Very fantastic fighter. I mean, his combination punches were fabulous. And what he does that I like is that every combination ended with a body shot. And that's eventually what he wanted, winning the fight with a body, just broke this man down. It's the old saying in boxing, is you kill the body, the head will follow. And that's what he did. And the main event, Cortez did what he, it was the main event. I wasn't that impressed with it. It is what it was. What HBO likes, slugfest. No skill involved, just a couple guys slugging it out. Also this weekend, the World Series of Boxing, the Super Series there, kicked off with Usyk and Marco Huck for the WBO Cruiserweight title, a fight I got to watch live on YouTube, and Usyk stopped Marco Huck in the 10th round. I gotta say, I was quite impressed with Usyk, and not so much with Huck. I've seen Huck fight a couple times. Usyk impressed me a great deal. And his 10th round stoppage, legit. Congratulations to him as he moves forward in this cruiserweight tournament, in this super fight tournament, which also has the cruiserweights and the super middleweights. I'm looking forward to see what they do at super middleweight. I really want to see what they do at super middleweight. That's going to be interesting. Now, Also, there's been some other developments in the boxing world. Manny Pacquiao has decided not to exercise his rematch option against Jeff Horn because Manny Pacquiao doesn't want to go back to Australia. Pacquiao feels that he would like the rematch, but he wants it to be in the Philippines. Somehow or another, there's a clause in the contract, from what we're being told, that if there's a rematch, it must take place in Australia. And I've never heard about anything like that before, where the challenger, in this case, the challenger, that the rematch clause is so catered toward the challenger. That's a new one for me. That, you as a challenger, Jeff Horn is an unknown, would get such a deal that if there was a rematch, that if he won, that the rematch had to take place in Australia. I've never heard any crap like that before. But it's one of those things, it's boxing, and it's something that the Pacquiao people kind of felt that, maybe Bob is cashing him out, and Bob is done with him, so it is what it is, on that front, because Manny Pacquiao had many chances to get away from Top Rank and chose not to. So what he's getting at this point in his career from Top Rank is what he deserves, pretty much. It's kind of funny when they were going to make the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight early, and Floyd offered Manny a flat $40 million plus a percentage. And Manny and everybody scoffed at it, laughed at it, so it was insulting. Yet after the fight happened, Manny Pacquiao only made $15 million. Floyd made over $300 million off that first fight, and Manny Pacquiao made $15 million. Go figure. Maybe he should have took that $40 million. I don't know. After, of course, the shit show's taking place by this time, and Floyd did his little thing where he took out Conor McGregor in the 10th round. Yay. But now as we do this video, we're heading toward a real fight, which is Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin, Triple G. This is a real fight, and this is a fight I'm excited about, because we've been harboring at Canelo to move up to, fight the middleweight. Stop dancing around at 155. Stop all this bullshit you've been doing, and fight this man. And now it's happening. September 16th. Canelo Alvarez and Triple G are going to battle it out for the unified middleweight title. Now, right now I'm hearing, now this is what's funny. One part is saying that only the WBA and the IBF titles are going to be in line. But yet there's another side that says that the WBC is making a special belt. They tried to do that shit for Canelo and Chavez Jr. The WBC and their specialized belts, whatever. You need to cut that shit out. The WBC, my problem is they probably are, of the four governing bodies, they are probably the best of them as far as rules and regs, but they're also the most thirsty of them, because they just want to be in every fucking thing. They're just fucking thirsty. Shit, they're like, God, what the fuck? They're determined to have their belt in everything. And motherfuckers are saying, Canelo's saying, I want to fuck with y'all. There's so much to the point where they're talking about that if Triple G loses, that the WBC belt will become vacant. Now I heard that said there that but there's so many conflicting stories. We probably won't know till fight night what the hell's going on with that. What we do know, what's been proven, is I think the WBC title is going to go the way of the dinosaur with these guys, because I don't believe that either Triple G or Canelo want to fight Jamal Charlo, who is the #1 contender for that WBC middleweight title. Neither one of these guys want that work, and I think that they're going to want to vacate that WBC title to get the hell away from Charlo. Now, also this weekend of the 16th, Billy Joe Saunders is fighting. Billy Joe Saunders is finally coming out of the cave with his WBO middleweight title, and he's going to finally defend it for the second time after holding the belt for almost 3 years. He's going to defend it again. And he's going to fight Willie Monroe. And it's going to be in his backyard, so I could see Monroe winning, but I could see Monroe losing. You know, it's going to be hard for Willie Monroe to whisk that belt away from Billy Joe Saunders. You know, I don't see him getting that decision over there against Sanders. But then again, I've been shocked by Lesser. Now, also, we have there's a lot of things going on in boxing. Like, a lot of, the blowback from the Mayweather situation, Jim Lampley's hatred, and the phoniness and falsehood that goes on in the sport of boxing. You know, I follow this sport because I love this sport. I do. This sport is my passion. Of all sports that I follow, boxing is my passion. It's the one thing that, if you told me that you could get rid of all the sports and only keep one, if that was a thing where you said, we're going to get rid of all the sports, football, basketball, everything else, you keep one sport alive, my pick would always be boxing. Because I could watch boxing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I love boxing. I love warriors. I love what boxing stands for at its purest form. Man against man, mano a mano. The art. What I don't like is the racist, bias overtones that have taken place in the boxing media. And it's even more prevalent now than it ever has been, with the need for white America. Seems white America needs a white champion, a great white hope, and they're willing, and the boxing media is willing to whore themselves out to give them this, because they feel that, the young white guys have left boxing for UFC, because UFC is predominantly, the top guys in UFC are predominantly white, and that's what, young white America wants. They want guys that look like them, blah, blah, blah. If that's the case, fine. You go ahead to the UFC. I have no problem. Combat sports are combat sports. I don't give a damn. Look, see, my thing is, I don't give a damn what color you are. If you're a fighter, you're a fighter. If you can fight, you can fight, and I'll back you. My problem has become that we're started lying to these guys, and it seems like we're at the point where it's the African American fighters that are being pushed to the back for certain other fighters. It's HBO, of course, we knew had their agenda when Al Heyman and Floyd and those guys all left and went to Showtime. Then they had to push Chocolatito up there, and we just saw Chocolatito was not pound for pound #1 fighter in the world, nor should he have ever been. Now the agenda is to push Lomachenko up there as pound for pound #1 fighter in the world, and it's just no. Vasily Lomachenko is a damn good fighter. My pound for pound rank, if I did one personally, I would have Lomachenko in the top 10. I have reasons. The reasons I would not have him higher than that is because, one, you lost to Salido, and you didn't clean that up, and you seem to be running away from cleaning that up to Salido. Now you're running around here talking about, we're going to fight Guillermo Rigondeaux, who is a pound for pound in the top 5. Rigondeaux's a top 5 pound for pound fighter in boxing, and you're talking about, and Rigondeaux's want to come up 2 weight classes to fight you, yet you can't even sign a damn contract. You're telling everybody supposed to be for December 9th, and now here you are trying to backpedal your way out of that. My thing about fighters, and this has always been my code about, I watch fighters, but I like to see a fighter tested. I want to see a fighter under fire. I want to see what happens to a fighter when he's hit, when he's hurt. I was just watching the other day, I went back on YouTube, I was watching the Shane Mosley Vernon Forrest 1 fight. And I realized after watching that fight, in that round where Shane Mosley was battered and bruised and nearly knocked the fuck out, but got up, kept fighting. But I realized then that I fuck with Shane Mosley. Because, yeah, he lost the fight, but the one thing I found out about Shane Mosley, I question about a lot of these fighters, is Shane Mosley showed me his heart. In that moment, in that round there where Vernon Forrest hit him with that uppercut and dropped him, I mean, Shane Mosley, for all intents and purposes, could have just laid there. And I think it was the second round. Shane Mosley could have just laid there. And nobody would have thought the worst of Shane Mosley if he took the count and got knocked out in that round against Vernon Forrest. Nobody would, because that was a wicked, wicked shot. But Shane Mosley got up. Shane Mosley took a couple more shots. Shane Mosley was battered for the next couple of rounds before Shane started getting together. Got the 5th or 6th round that Shane started fighting his way back in. That you've seen Shane getting himself back together after that. But the point is, Shane fought his way all the way through the end. And that showed me something. I was not the biggest Floyd Mayweather fan. I mean, I liked Floyd, but I wasn't really a big Mayweather fan until Shane hit Floyd with that right hand and damn near took his head off. And Floyd recovered from that in the second round and came on and won the fight. Because certain things about fighters that I want to see is I want to see what happens when you're hit, what happens when you're hurt, how you respond to that, because it's a warrior's game. Do you have a warrior's heart? As much as I dislike the antics of Adrian Broner outside the ring, won't question the man's heart inside, because against Maidana, he was blasted on 2 occasions. That, I think it was the second round there against Maidana, where he got dropped for the first time, and then again in the 8th round. And but he fought back, he hung in there. Warriors. I'm not saying that I want to see every guy, I don't want to see toe-to-toes. I want to see this art form. But at some point during a fighter's career, before I fucks with you, I want to see you tested. I want to see you put through something. I want to see what happens when you face adversity. Because a fighter that has never faced adversity, is a fighter the first time he does face adversity, he's going to crumble. And we're starting to see a part of that. And I like Sergey Kovalev, but he faced adversity and he's not come back from it. Mentally, after the first fight with Andre Ward, he just mentally couldn't get over it. The rematch with Andre Ward, again, mentally he's not back. He faced adversity on 2 occasions, and the second, he didn't come through it very well. Adversity's not always taking, Sugar Ray Leonard when he fought Roberto Duran. That was up to the first fight with Duran. Leonard was one of them kids that never been tested, never been hit hard, never been tested, and he answered questions about himself. In that first fight with Duran, Leonard gained a lot more respect from boxing media, boxing fans, in his loss to Duran than he gained in all of the fights he won. We saw the heart of Leonard in that first fight. And then again when he fought Tommy Hearns, and his eyes swelled the hell up, and and Angelo Dundee's telling him, "You're blowing it, son, you're blowing it," and he comes on and he takes Tommy out. We saw the heart of Sugar Ray Leonard. And that's what I want to see a lot of times with fighters. I want to see your heart. I want to see what happens to you when you're hit, you're hurt, when adversity, when you have a moment in a fight where you can quit. And you don't. Oscar De La Hoya had plenty of fights. His fight with Ike Corte. De La Hoya, the fight with Ike Corte. Great fight. Him and Ike Corte, back and forth. Corte bombed De La Hoya. Dropped him. In that fight, there were moments Oscar could have, okay, let me fold it up, but he didn't. He got the fuck up, and Oscar fought on him. And that 12th round against him and Corte is vintage. Show me what you got. Show me your heart. They're just slugging Corte against the rope. De La Hoya just pounding him. And they're doing that for the last minute of the round till the bell rung. That It's the heart of a warrior. That is the heart. That is what I look for in a fighter. Those are the kind of things that lets me know if this is a guy that I'm going to fucks with. I've seen too many fighters get in a position when the first time they hit, they're hurt, they're done. You know, they look for ways out. So, you know, with Lomachenko, you've been tested and you got it incomplete. Now what's happening is, are you willing to test yourself? You know, excuse me, one of the things I respect about Lomachenko is, I said, I like this guy because a lot of guys go from the amateurs, they fight a bunch of setup fights. You know, and they fight a bunch of these meaningless fights that they shouldn't be, because when you're in the amateurs, you're fighting the best guys in your weight class. There's no, oh, I don't want to fight him, I'm going to fight him. No, not in the amateurs. You got to fight. You're here, you guys are matching, and you're fighting each other. And a lot of times in the pros, what happens is, because the pros are more of a business, that you're here, your starting level's here. So instead of fighting a guy like maybe here, you're fighting a guy all the way down here. And you're moving the opposition up little by little by little by little, little by little. And you don't get a guy here until there's big money involved, if ever, you know. And some guys just, you know, they don't make it. The guys that I follow, the guys I like, Anthony Joshua, another one, his fight with Klitschko, he dropped Klitschko. Okay, Klitschko got up, dropped him, and Klitschko had him going there. After Klitschko dropped him in the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th rounds, where Klitschko had Joshua in a lot of trouble, until Joshua cleared his head late in the 10th. Then the 11th round, when Joshua hurt Klitschko, Joshua closed the show. But what Joshua showed me and showed the world was his heart. From the 6th round to the stoppage, Anthony Joshua showed us he has the heart of a warrior. Much kudos, much respect for Anthony Joshua. To me, that's to me is how I rate a fighter. I want to see what happens when you're hit, when you're hurt, when when you have to dig in. You know, when shit isn't going your way, how do you adjust? You know, I want to know what your heart's like. To me, that's the thing with a warrior. And as I look at today's fighters, I can look at today's fighters and I can say, okay, a lot of them have the heart. I believe they have the heart, but I haven't seen them show me that heart. Now Golovkin and Canelo, wow, this is going to be a thing, because Golovkin got tested somewhat against Danny Jacobs. He got his test against Jacobs where he got hit with a guy that hit. He fought a legit middleweight. He fought a guy that could really fight. He dropped him. Jacobs got the fuck up, and Jacobs came storming back, and Jacobs gave him everything he could handle. And we've seen Golovkin handle that adversity. Golovkin took some major shots in the fight with Danny Jacobs. Canelo, you know, we saw Canelo get outboxed by Floyd for 12 rounds. But we also see Canelo also show adversity after the Floyd fight when he fought Laura. How he tracked Laura down, slowed him up with the body shots. We've seen Canelo, you know, do some things. So I don't have questions about either man's heart in this fight. Wow. So, you know, this is that fight there. I don't even know who I'm going to pick. It's a tough one. It's a tough for me personally. It's a tough one to pick. There's a part of me that's leaning toward Golovkin. But then I really like Canelo. So for this fight here, I think I'm going to leave this one alone. Maybe I'll do another video in between, because I haven't done videos in a while. And I might give a prediction like the day before the fight. I don't know. But as of right now, I'm still on the fence with that one. I'm going to pretty much leave that one alone. But, you know, the sport is in good hands. We have a lot of good fights coming. I'm hoping one of the things that I listen to the sites and, you know, people are buzzing about is the hot guy is Earl Spence Jr., who I like Spence Jr. I do. I like Earl Spence Jr. I think he's the goods. I want to see him, you know, like everybody else wants to see him tested. I think what's happening with Earl Spence Jr., what's happening with Earl Spence Jr. is the same thing that's happening with a lot of the fighters in the PBC. They don't fight enough, honestly, because Earl Spence Jr., you won the IBF welterweight title. Earl Spence Jr. should have been on the TV screens at least twice more this year. He's going to maybe get another fight at the end in November. And this is where I have a problem. As much as I respect what Al Heyman is doing, the problem I have with Al Heyman is your guys are not fighting enough. They're just not. There's no way in hell Earl Spence Jr., when he won the title in May, is just going to have one more fight in November. Spence Jr. should have came back in May and should have been back in August and should be back again in November. Earl Spence Jr. is a fucking star. And he's a guy, you want to keep him in front of the eye. You want to keep him up there. You want to get him up there. You want to get him out there. You know what I mean? Look at fucking one of the reasons Bob Arum, Top Rank, took this deal with ESPN is because they get, Terrence Crawford in the ring more. That was the goal, to get Crawford in the ring more. I never talked about Crawford may be back again. Crawford may be back again fighting one more time this year, which is awesome, considering Crawford's fought 4 times. That'll be 4 fights this year. But this is what I'm saying. The PBC guys, they fighting once a year. Now, okay, we got Keith Thurman. He fought Danny Garcia and he got hurt. Sean Porter beat Andre Berto. And he, cut a little bit. We haven't seen Porter back in the ring. We haven't seen Danny Garcia back in the ring. We realize Thurman's not going to be there. Now the talk is now we're going to get Earl Spence Jr. and Lamont Peterson, which is a good fight. What they're talking about putting in the Barclays. Earl Spence is from Texas. Don't tell me there's no place in Dallas you could have put the Spence Peterson fight. And this is what I'm saying. You got these guys. I mean, you've been put, Deontay Wilder, another one, guy that should be more active. You got it. He's a heavyweight champion, man. He's got to be more active. These guys don't fight. And then you wonder why, you wonder why people sit there and say, why is pay-per-view dead? Why is Floyd Mayweather taking 2 years off and coming back and doing the highest pay-per-view numbers of anybody? Because Floyd fought a lot early on in his career and he built a name for himself. And that's why, Floyd's doing, what did he do, 6.5 million for the McGregor fight? And all these other cats are barely breaking $1 million. These other cats, are barely breaking $1 million. And here's Floyd breaking $6.5 million. I think Floyd's lowest output as a pay-per-view star was maybe 300,000 with the Gaddy fight. Like I said, I believe but outside of that, the next lowest he had was either the Berto or Maidana fight with 800,000 pay-per-view buys. But it's still beating the hell out of what these guys are getting. Everybody else is getting. Guys don't fight enough, and that's the problem I have with the PBC. Your guys don't fight enough, Al. You gotta deal with Fox. Get Deontay Wilder on there every 4 months. Deontay Wilder should be on every 4 months. He should be defending. One of the things that when Larry Holmes was the WBC heavyweight champion, and I'll give Don King did a lot of bad things, but Don King did some smart things. Don King, he robbed his fighter, but Don King kept his fighters busy, kept them in the ring. Larry Holmes won the title from Norton and defended it 3 more times by the end of the year. 3. Larry Holmes was on TV a lot. So the fans got to know who he was. Before, of course, to move over to HBO. But Larry Holmes didn't always fight on HBO. He fought on, from HBO or an ABC, whatever, on the networks, NBC, whatever. But Larry Holmes was on TV. Larry Holmes averaged about 3 fights a year as heavyweight champion. Mike Weaver was less of an enigma. Mike Weaver was a guy that, he wasn't that active. But then nobody really cared much about Weaver because Weaver had been knocked out by Larry Holmes in one of Larry's title defenses, and then Weaver after that got a fight with John Tate, knocks out Tate, picks up the WBA belts. But but at that point in time, it had already been established that Larry Holmes was the heavyweight champion and Mike Weaver was the WBA titleist. So, because Larry Holmes already beaten Mike Weaver and stopped him in the 12th round. So, emphatically, so there was no question about who the better of the 2 men were. There was no controversy, no closer, no nothing. We knew who the champion was, and we knew who the title holder was. So really, at that point in time, there was no rush for unification because everybody figured the same thing. Why would Larry Holmes fight Mike Weaver again? He already beat him once. And that's the thing about, a lot of Deontay Wilder. People are saying that he doesn't have a following and this and that. And here's the thing with Deontay Wilder. You're not in the position that Larry Holmes was in. Larry Holmes had a position of following Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time. Larry Holmes had to follow behind Ali. Deontay Wilder, you have nobody. There was no great heavyweight champion you had to follow behind. Excuse me, you didn't have to follow behind a legend like Ali. You have to. It's not like Deontay Wilder came in and had to follow behind Lennox Lewis. No, because by the time you got there, what do we have? We had the Klitschko's, and the Klitschko and the one Klitschko brother was already gone, and the other ones there. And the Klitschko's were not. They were down if they weren't that overwhelming shadow like Ali was, like Lennox Lewis was. They, it's not like you had that big deal. It's just that Al Heyman. I like some of the things you're doing, but I think some of the things you don't keep your fighters active enough. These guys need to be in the ring more, man. Deontay Wilder needs to be in the ring more. Earl Spence Jr. should have been in the ring at least 3 more. Earl Spence should have been in the ring 3 times this year. Danny Garcia should have been back in the ring. Sean Porter should have been back in the ring. If you got to put cards, you got to put all these cats on the same card, put them on there, but get them in there. These guys are not fighting enough. They're not. Keith Thurman, okay, we're going to give Keith the pass because he's out injured. I like the fact what you're doing with the Charlos, who I think they should be on TV. They should be fighting more than they're fighting. This is, I think, their second fight this year for Jamal Charles, second fight. You have those 3 that Texas 3-headed monster there, man, and you should be fighting the reunion in Dallas or someplace and putting, Jamal Charlo, and Earl Spence Jr. on cards, all 3 of them on cards in Texas, man. And letting them, even if you don't put all 3, we're putting them boys in their home state. Bringing build up an arena in Texas, man. And don't tell me it can't be done, because I remember Tony, the Tiger Lopez, from Sacramento, California, man, when he won the WBC junior lightweight title, he fought his whole career in Sacramento. So you can't say that the boy can't enjoy it. He drew, and he was on CBS. He was on CBS boxing. NBC picked him up a couple times. The point is, he drew. So you're going to tell me that the Charlo brothers and Earl Spence could not fill out an arena in Texas? Come on, Al. You can put these guys should be on TV. These guys should be fighting 3 times a year at most. If you want to put them all on a card together, great. If not, they should be on 3 separate cards. But they will do well in Texas. The Barclays Center, hey, I love it. It's great to have it, but the Charlo brothers from Texas, they need to be in arenas in Texas and bring the world to Texas, to Dallas. Fox, CBS, who you're aligned with through Showtime, bring that damn thing to Texas. Some primetime outings, some afternoon outings, but bring that damn thing to Texas. That's where the Charlos would shine. And let them build that base up in Texas. And it's big enough that they don't never have to leave Texas. But every once in a while, you say, okay, we'll slide them up to the Barclays Center to give New York a little taste. But the thing, Heyman guys don't fight enough. And that's what hurt the PBC. That's what's continuing to hurt the Al Heyman's, let me see, are they managed or they advised? Well, the guys with Heyman, what's hurting them is they're not fighting enough. They're getting their big money, and they're fighting maybe once or twice a year. And in the game of boxing, it's out of sight, out of mind. We don't see you, we forget about you. Because the sport goes on. Jeff Horn is going to fight for the 2nd time this year. He's going to fight somebody. Again. We seen Cotto slip in the back door after being out for a couple of years and steal a WBO belt. The sport's going on. You have fighters. Gary Russell Jr. fought twice this year. He needs to be more in bigger profile fights. you got all this. Al Heyman's got all this talent, but these guys are not. These guys are forgotten about because they aren't active. You know, here's the case. Let me give you another case. Okay, we got the whole thing with Lomachenko and Rigondeaux, which is a fight. I'd love to see that. But yet we got Gary Russell Jr. saying I wouldn't mind getting that rematch with Lomachenko either. So why isn't Al Heyman and his people saying, putting the pressure on Bob, saying, yo, we want that rematch, and you're just and Gary Russell, you're just a division down. So you should be saying, yo, I want that rematch. Let me get that rematch and run that back again. And you should be out there with Rigondeaux saying, yo, we can do this. You know, put your name up in the mix there for Rig. So then now the pressure's on Lomachenko because now you're saying, oh, you got the rematch with Gary Russell Jr., who's looked good since that loss. You got Rigondeaux here, who's going to come up 2 weight classes. Put the pressure on Bob Arum to make him show us what Lomachenko's really about. These cats sit here and they call out guys. They talk about this to me, but they don't have their people get behind and put some hustle and muscle. You know, there's great fights to be had. Like I said, Heyman fighters, I don't know what the fuck the deal is. They was talking about a Sean Porter versus Danny Garcia fight for the interim title. Well, I don't want to see that for an interim title. We have a champion. I'm tired of these polluted championships. Keith Thurman's a champion. Keith Thurman will be back next year. And that's all we need to know there. Now, Danny Garcia has a habit, when he was at 140 pounds and he was the underdog, he fought everybody he had to fight. That Danny Garcia somewhere along the line after the Zab Judah fight I'm sorry, not the Zab, after the he fought in the Floyd, I forgot, Matisse fight. Okay, after the Matisse fight, Danny Garcia got full of himself. Danny Garcia said, fuck, now I can do this fight who I want to fight because I done fought all the monsters in the weight class. I did all this, did all that. And Danny Garcia, after the Matisse fight, kind of got filled. Kind of got full of himself, kind of got filled up. Danny Garcia and his people, like, we not, started, sliding down the level of opposition. And the level of activity. And that's a shame, but that's their call. Sean Porter, that motherfucker will fight anybody, so I would keep Sean Porter as active as I can. Sean Porter's the kind of guy that should be in the ring at least 3 times a year. And why he's not is, again, a question I have for the people he's advising that are advising him. Now, I know after the fight with Berto, there were cuts, whatever, so okay. But there's no reason that the cut should have healed by now. And Sean Porter's probably in fighting shape, so Sean Porter should be back in the ring. In my opinion. Unless there's something else going on that I don't know about, because I'm not privy to all that information. Now, another guy that, again, Heyman guy that hasn't fought anybody, is our distinguished light heavyweight champion, Adonis Super Bitch Stevenson. You knock off Chad Dawson. You come in with all this fireworks. You're looking good, and everybody's like, yeah, here's Adonis. Adonis is the man, yeah. And then you set up the whole Kovalev debacle. I'm not going to go into the whole Kovalev debacle. But you run the Showtime. You don't fight Hopkins. You find a way to get yourself out of a Hopkins fight. And you fought Fora. You fought from Fora. You haven't fought anybody. Beating Sakio Biko's never been a light heavyweight. You bought a bunch of nobodies. And then you have a number 1 contender Alvarez, who's finally they're going to force you to fucking fight, which is not a winnable fight, and the thing about it was you sit there and you chirp about you're the king, baby, I'm the king. What, the king of what? Because while you were the quote-unquote champion, Sergey Kovalev was cleaning up everything else. And now Andre Ward succeeded Sergey Kovalev. So what do you expect Andre Ward to clean up all your mess? Because Andre Ward's talking about, maybe I'm ready to, take a step up to the next weight class. This motherfucker ain't got shit. You know, Kovalev. See, here's the thing about Adonis Stevenson. Adonis Stevenson is delusional. He thinks he's something. He thinks he's the champ. He thinks he's the man, and he's not. In that weight class, man, you were the man to an extent, but then you blew that because when you beat Chad Dawson, when you were active after you beat Dawson, after you fought somebody else, you fought Tavares Cloud. Okay, you're looking good, and then you dropped the fuck off. After this, whatever happened between you and Kovalev, your stock kind of went down because you started fighting a bunch of bullshit. Kovalev started fighting a bunch of better people. So Kovalev in turn became the man. And you were just the guy. Yeah, you were just the guy to beat the guy. Yeah, lineal, whatever, but Kovalev was the man. Andre Ward moves up from 168 to 175. He doesn't fight you. He fights Kovalev. Not once, but twice. Andre Ward had a name coming up. So, yeah, naturally, Andre Ward's the man. And you're still in that same position, and you're trying to sit there and dictate terms to Andre Ward. You know, Adonis, you're delusional. And your fans are delusional. You're not in a position to dictate terms to anybody. You blew that. You blew that. Being lineal is great, but being lineal, you're not the man. You know, when Bob Foster was a lineal champion, Bob Foster was the man. When Archie Moore was a lineal champion, Archie Moore was the man. You know, back to the day with Saad Muhammad, Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, the two champions, it was a debate over who was the man. There was a debate. When Michael Spinks knocked off Eddie Mustafa and Michael Spinks became the champion, there was a debate because Saad Muhammad was still the champion. There was a debate, who's the man? They would just clean up the division together. When Saad got knocked off by Dwight Muhammad Quaid, there was debate, who's the man? And then they settled it, and Michael Spinks showed he was the man. We need more people in boxing to show to want to stand up and say, I'm the man in this weight class. That I'm the best, I'm the beast, I'm the guy that's going to run this weight class. And we are not getting it. And that is a shame. And like I said, a lot of the things I'm not going to blame on, I'm not going to want to blame on the fighters. I'm going to blame on the management because I'm going to say it like this. Al Heyman and his PBC guys need to fight more often. You got all these fighters, Al, and don't tell me. And the reason you did what you did, you said, so I can get TV dates. Well, you're failing miserably because your guys aren't getting seen. Your fighters are sitting on the fucking shelf, and they're getting left behind. You got the best parts of the welterweight division are all sitting on the fucking shelf. You know, there's no way Sean Porter should not be making noise. There's no way Lamont Peterson should not be making noise. There's no way Earl Spence Jr. should not be making noise. Danny Garcia should not be making noise. You know, you got all these top-level guys. Featherweight, Gary Russell Jr. should be making more noise than he's making. You got all these top-level guys at weight classes, and they're making no noise because they're sitting on the fucking bench. Come on, man. You know, you got Rancis Bartholomew at 140 pounds. Where the fuck is he in that 140-pound mix? You know, where's Rancis Bartholomew in that mix? He's a WBA #1 contender. Are we going to see Rancis sitting on the bench? You know, when Terence Crawford, we don't know what Terence Crawford's going to do. You know, Terence Crawford's already vacated the IBF title. Where are your people? That's what my question is to Al Heyman is, where's your people, man? Why are you guys fighting once or twice a year? You guys fighting once. Boxing is a 24/7 sport, man. There's no off-season in boxing. But your guys seem to fight once or twice a year and then want to coast on that, coast, and it's like, nah, man, the sport keeps going, man, and you guys get just fucking forgot about. You know, and it makes it easy for... You know, the fact you don't keep Spence out there makes it easy for these motherfuckers to talk shit because, you know, in this modern age, this modern media, they tried to do the same thing to Andre Ward. Well, yeah, he was the #2 pound for pound, but he was inactive. Come on, man. These clowns are these clowns have enough excuses, and you're giving them more excuses. to do this to your fighters. Al, get your boys fighting. The Charlos need to be in Texas. Get Sean Porter the fuck out there. Let Sean, because Sean will fight every fucking day if you let him. Make Cherry Garcia fight. Get your guys out. Deontay Wilder, get this boy. Make that Wilder Ortiz fight. That's a fight that needs to happen. And even after that fight, let Deontay Wilder just start pounding title defenses. Stop fucking chasing Anthony Joshua. The Joshua fight will come, but it's going to be for Deontay Wilder to start building up his base here in America. That then the American media, whether they like it or not, are going to say, you know, we got an American heavyweight champion. We better start put them hustle behind the muscle. And the American media and the American boxing writers will then say, you know what? We want our guy to get this fight. Let the media get behind you, but they won't get behind you if Deontay Wilder's only fighting once a year. That's not the way he's done. He has to fight the best guys. He has to look impressive, and he has to call out, say, hey, I want that unification. And even these racist bastards that are in the boxing media here in America will get behind him and say, you know what, we want that fight too. So, till next time, it's Doe Wilson signing off. We'll see you at the fights.